Reach for the speed, reach for the whistle, go where the rail may run. Reach for the words, reach for the story, follow the rainbow sun. To a shining time station, where dreams can come true, waiting there for you.
Hi, Jeff?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi. My name is Andrew Boylan. It's nice to meet you.
Yes.
So, I work at Gillian's Wonderland Pier in Ocean City, New Jersey, and we have an animatronic band that sings certain country songs. And I've been doing YouTube videos on them because I fixed them, and a lot of the kids like it. And they've been asking me, do you know who the singers are that do these songs? Because we really like them. And I said, oh, I've been wondering who they've been ever since I was a kid. And one of the kids put two and two together. They kind of figured it out. They said, I think it's this guy named Larry Mangum. And I
How'd they find that out?
what? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I listened to some of Larry's songs on YouTube and I thought, oh yeah, it does sound like him. Okay. And so I reached out to him on Facebook and asked him if it was him, and he said, yes, it was. And then he gave me your number to talk to you. So basically I would like to know, how, so did you guys like record these songs for Sally Corp for an animatronic show or something? Or like, how did it all come about?
Yeah, so those shows that you have there with those particular characters, I mean, those date back to, gosh, I mean, most of this stuff was being done in the 80s. You know, Celebration Station was a big one that they did all over the United States. I had never heard of this particular park. But like there was a group called the Rockin' Rascals. That was at Celebration Station, but they used those same characters at other venues and renamed them. But like I was going to tell you a list of songs here. I don't know how many you have. How many shows do they have there? Do you know?
We have, well, it's changed over the years. We have 3 shows total, but they've separated the songs. They sing 7 songs, but it's been edited into 3 shows.
Right. Yeah, the dialogue sounds different than the dialogue that we did. It's not the same characters talking from the one you played me. The singing is the songs. Like, see, all those tunes that you hear Larry singing right now were done by a guy named Mike Johnson originally. So the original group, Big Rock Candy Mountain, Highway 40 Blues. Do I have my other list here? I don't think I have that hard drive up. It's just, and there's a bunch of them. I mean, there's just song after song after song, you know. And originally those were recorded with Mike Johnson and his band, which was his mother on bass, and fiddle player, and Johnson on, you know, acoustic or banjo. But you know, they would come in, you know, typically Jam would have them come in and they would record, I don't know, for a given show, I think they would do about 6 or 7 songs each time. And then she would write the shows. You know, they would either be around whatever happens at the park, and or just stories, you know. And they go back before that. You probably, I don't know if you've looked on the internet at some of those things, like there was, you know, the Daniel and the Dixie Diggers, which was a dog show. And that show was huge. It was, you know, that one they did lots and lots and lots. I mean, there's probably, I don't know, 40 or 50 songs that they did with that group, you know, that it ranged from anything you can think of. So my involvement got involved when I was really young. I think I was just coming out of high school in 79. And so 80, when I went to work at the studio, in 1980, that's when I met Skip, who's one of my mentors still, and still one of my best friends, he was the engineer, and I worked with Skip, and then Jan, she was the producer, Jan Sherman. She's passed away. She's no longer alive. So they don't do the Sally Corporation doesn't do anything like what you have now. So somebody else has taken it over. They obviously still have the music because they're still using that music.
Right.
That Larry, I want to say Larry did that. That was a redo. Because I actually have the 24 tracks to that music. I have all the multi tracks to that particular music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I've done some remixes on a few of them, just to make them sound better. But Larry went in. I want to say, see, we opened up our studio in '85, so probably in the late, um, maybe '86 or '87, he went back into Warehouse Studios and redid those vocals that Mike had done for
Mhm.
these other companies. Um, and they were going to go out to our different show. Like I said, we didn't know what show they were going to. They were just, we would just do the music. And then in '88, Jan brought her business over to my studio, and then we started all the new stuff, the Rockin' Rascals, Panda Show. I mean, I did quite a few in a very short period of years. But all that early stuff that you're hearing right now is from a Hank show. It was called, what do they title that one there? What do
They're
they
called
call it?
Rocky and the Railroad Ramblers.
Yeah, that's a whole different name. Yeah, it was
Okay.
originally, um, what was his original name? Has it always been Rocky and the whatever it's called since you were a
Yeah,
kid?
yeah. We bought
Okay,
them. We got them. I think in like 92, 93, somewhere around there. They've
yeah,
been saying the same 7 songs that entire time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Isn't that a shame? Yeah. What did they call Mike's group originally? Oh my gosh, I'll have to write that down and go pull it up. Skip still remembers most of this stuff. When I can get him to get on the phone. Um, let's see, how old is Skip now? He's 75,
Mhm.
and he was the original engineer on all that stuff. But again, I worked with him, and then we did later on. Jan brought me all of the tapes. They were all done on 24 track 2-inch, which was the format we used to record on back then. So I
Right.
eventually archived all of that to digital for her. In it was probably after '95, sometime in '97 to '99, somewhere in that ballpark. Um, so, um, got a chance to kind of relive all that and hear it. They used to do one called a Dragon Show, which was a Toby the Dragon, and that was one of the first ones they did. It was a huge success, and it was, I don't know where it was at. It was all over in some different places, but I don't remember the name of the park.
Now, when Larry would record like a song like Rocky Top Tennessee or Country Roads or any of those songs, would he do it by himself or was he with like other
No,
singers?
no, no, by himself. Yeah,
Oh, by himself.
those tracks were recorded 10 years before he ever did that voice. Yeah, those tracks were recorded in the early '80s. In
Oh,
fact, I think we did that Mike Johnson show. It was probably '81 when we actually recorded that show originally. So once those tracks were on multi-track, Jan would, like I said, when they started coming up with this other character, they put Larry's voice in as that character. He did some speaking parts, but most of the time, I'm gonna send you a version of Mike Johnson doing a couple of those tunes, and you'll go, oh, okay.
yeah,
um,
I'd love to know because I didn't know because I always thought that Larry was the speaking part too because whoever they got to do the
no,
vocals for our characters sounds very similar to the singing.
yeah, it's not him though.
Okay.
Yeah, I listened to it. It's one of those weird things. I mean, Jan did that a lot. There were sometimes there were characters that could act really well, but they couldn't sing. So she would have other people sing the parts. And
And
that happened on several characters.
Jan, she was the head of Sally Corp at the time,
No, she was the producer,
the
and she
producer.
wrote all of the scripts. She wrote the scripts, and then would pick the music, and then we would hire the arrangers. The arrangers would do the music. They'd come in, and we'd hire the band. Typically it would be a studio band. But in this case with Mike Johnson, it was his band, because he had a working group at the time, which is he and his mother, and I forgot who the other player was. His mom played bass. She was the upright bass player. Polly Johnson was her name. But there's probably quite a few bit of information. There's a lot of Mike Johnsons out there, but if you were to search Mike Johnson, bluegrass, Jacksonville, Florida, you'll probably find some information on Mike. Same thing with Larry. I mean, obviously you've looked up some of his stuff. He and Larry and I were partners in a studio for from 85 to 95. So we had a studio together.
My question is, did Jan ever, do you know if she wrote the script for the show that we have? I mean, because we got them in the early 90s. I mean, she probably did, or
she would have written that one. Yeah, whether that, the dialogue doesn't sound like her writing to me, because I did so much of it. I know what her writing style is. So I know for a fact there's another guy, and I'm gonna see if I can find his name here real quick. He and a bunch of guys, they are like Sally crazies, if I can put it that way. Let me find his name here real quick. But they have been they have gone in to places like Celebration Stations that they've torn down, and they went in, and because they were just going to like literally trash the animatronics, like throw them away. And they talked the people into letting them take them. So some of them have them in their house in working condition. They got the computer, they got everything.
I've seen videos like that on YouTube where they have actual electronics and working.
Guys have them. Yeah. But again, I would look up on YouTube. There's a couple of decent Dixie, the dog shows with Dixie and the Diggers. But I mean, Daniel and the Diggers. But again, most of them are from, camcorders that audio's not great. They are what they are.
Right.
And so when I share with him some of this music, and it's, basically it's right off the master. He couldn't believe how good it sounded. And I'm like, oh, this stuff was well recorded back in the day. I mean, it's real musicians playing. It's not. I'm looking back through my messages here. Okay, here it is. Cameron Carruthers is his name. He's on Facebook, by the way.
Okay.
But he is a Sally diehard.
Did Mike Johnson ever sing on any of these songs with Larry, or no?
Yeah, not with Larry, but as that character. So again, I'm going to tag you into a. Let's see. Let me find this folder here real quick. I only have a couple of examples in here right now because trying to be careful. I mean, this stuff's still owned by Sally. Not that they're ever going to do anything with it.
Yeah, I was wondering if Jan was the one that wrote the script for our show, because the CD, because I have the CD, and it says the date on it is July 20th, 1998, and it says Sally Corp. It has the logo on the CD, and it says Rock Railroad Ramblers. So I wasn't sure if maybe she did it or someone else did it.
She was still working at she didn't retire till, gosh, in the 2000s sometime, if I remember correctly. And then she got real quiet, and I never understood why until later. She had gotten cancer. And so she she would not talk with anybody. And I kept sending her text, "Hey, Jan, how you doing?" And she passed away sometime, I want to say it was in 2018 or so. But she'd been retired for about 10 years, I think. She was a great lady, really, really smart. Oh my gosh, she just.
So you guys would record these songs, but how did it all start? Do you know? They came to you and said, "Can you record some songs for a show that we're putting together?"
No. Jan would come in with a complete script. I mean, literally, just like a movie script would be done. Here's the show, opening with this. When they were building a show from scratch, like say one of these that was going to be the first time, you had all the pieces that had to get done. Do y'all have the birthday celebration song?
No, we
Is
don't
that
have
in the
that one.
script?
We don't
Oh,
have
you don't
that.
have that?
No.
Oh man. They had a birthday celebration song. We reused the same music for I don't know how many different ones. It's called Hullabaloo, and we used it with the Dragon Show. We used it with the Dog Show. We used it. It was done with multiple voices, different times. They had a Flintstone show they did.
Okay.
So, but yeah, she would come in with a complete script, and we would always start with recording all the music. So we would get all the music done, and then we would bring the singers in or the characters that were going to be. She had a pretty good group of characters here in town of actors that she liked to use. So some of them were on multiple projects. Um, but once she got a good group together, she would use them all the time. Colonel Buford T. Beauregard, that was one. He was in the Dog Show. But I'm going to text Skip here, and well, I won't text him. I have to email. He doesn't text. But I'll get the names of the characters that were originally for the Mike Johnson music, which is the music you're listening to, but with Larry singing. So
Okay, yeah. Larry told me that Debbie Bailey was the female vocal.
yeah, is she? I didn't hear a spot. Did you have a spot with her singing on it?
There's two songs where the female sings, like.
Send me a snippet of that, and I'll tell you if it's her or not. I
Yeah,
mean,
sure.
I know her voice. Yeah, I
Sure.
mean, her voice was. We used her on quite a few different things. We, like I said, we did another show later on, in probably late. It was probably late '80s, early '90s, called the Rock and Rascals. Debbie was on that show with a handful of other group people, and that's what a lot of people they really like their shows, because we had songs like um, we did the Beatles' birthday, we did uh, uh, Good Day Sunshine, we had a whole Beatles medley, which is rare.
Yeah.
We had gosh
Did you ever do I'm So Lonely I Could Die, Your Cheating Heart?
no, in the Hank shows though, and let's see. Let me see if I've got that list here. I may have it. One second here. Like the Rock and Rascals. I'm just going to tell you some of the titles. My password keeps going off. Like they had this whole section. You remember that song "Quarter to Three"? It's an old '60s song. I danced at quarter to three. Beatles medley. We had Celebration Birthday Hullabaloo. Future So Bright. Good Day Sunshine. That's a Debbie song. La Bamba, My Boyfriend's Back, My Guy. Those are all Debbie singing. Rock Around the Clock, Rock and Roll Is Here to Stay, Still Rock and Roll to Me, Billy Joel tune, to the Hop, Twist and Shout. So that was just a few. We did probably 15 songs with that group. It was a lot of songs.
Oh, okay.
But I'll go back. I have a whole list of like the Hank shows. There's probably 30 songs in that list that were done all together
I wonder
with Mike Johnson.
with Mike Johnson. Okay, because I'm wondering if any of those songs are probably ours, because the Dalmatians name goes by Hank. So I don't know
Oh,
if
does
it's
he?
the same band or something, or.
Well, I mean, it was a character. I believe it was uh, I mean, the character Larry singing is a dog, right?
The
Is
character
is that
Larry singing is a panda.
a panda? Oh, they
Yeah.
changed. That must be different. Yeah, originally it was not a panda.
Okay.
I know that for a fact. Let me look at something here. Have you been on Sally's website?
I have
Have you
not.
looked?
No.
So on their website, um, I'm going to tell you where it's at, so you don't have to go searching too far.
Mhm.
They don't have a lot of stuff on there, but what they do have are some of the shows from way back in the day. There's a gallery, and in that gallery you can see, I mean, gosh, they've done so many. I'm trying to think if I can see that show you just showed me. Well, I will look through and find it because there's more in here, but
Mhm.
there's some stuff on there. You can see some of the pictures um, of a lot of these shows from back in the day. I've been finding a bunch of them on YouTube myself
Mm.
and looking at them. Again, it's kind of disappointing because you people that want to see it, and then I know what the music really sounds like. So,
Yeah.
um, but I did send you a link to your email,
Okay.
and so that folder you'll hear a version of Mike singing it and a version of Larry singing it, and I think you have those songs, um, which was
Is Mike doing one of the voices?
yes. So you'll hear him sing. You'll hear Larry sing "Big Rock Candy Mountain." Do you have that song in your group?
You do not.
Big Rock Candy Mountain. You don't have that one?
I
Oh, it's
know
a
the
great
song.
one.
I've actually heard that on YouTube, but that's not one of the songs that the characters sing. No, we
So you'll hear Larry's version of it and Mike's version of it, and then Highway 40 Blues. Do y'all have that one?
don't have that one. No.
Oh, that's such a good one. And so
No.
there's Larry and Mike doing that one. I haven't posted. I've got a bunch of other ones mixed. I just haven't posted them. But like that song you have that you showed me, I have that one. I just haven't posted it or anything.
So Larry
So
and
I've got
Mike.
the
So Larry
yeah.
and Mike, they both did Rocky Top Tennessee.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I've got a version with Mike singing it, version with Larry singing it. I think there's someone else singing it actually. Several different versions. Yeah, like I said, once she had songs in the can, she would just bring somebody in for a different show, or for a Comstock. Some of these trade shows they would go to,
Mhm.
they would take a character and have them do stuff. One of them was a character that was like Mark Twain. He would narrate a bunch of stuff. Really
Oh,
good, really good.
do you know if
And then they
there's?
had one named, huh?
I'm sorry. What were you saying?
I was saying they had one named after Sally, and she was a piano player that played at a piano, and Jan would do the voice a lot of times, the
Mhm.
speaking voice, and she was English, so she had a little bit of an accent. But the voice was from another lady named Leanne Hodges here in town. She did all the singing
Oh,
because Jan didn't sing. So it's a joke. We were like, Jan, you gonna go sing? She goes, nope.
do you know if there's any footage of you guys recording these songs in the?
Boy, they did not do that well,
Oh,
guys. I think about that now. I'm gonna skip if he has any pictures from back in the sessions because Tom Markham, who owned the studio that they originally recorded at, he took photos all the time.
oh, okay.
Um, and that's about probably all we would have if there are any available. And Skip might have some of those. He's still, let's see, Tom's in his late 80s now, and he's still with us. Um, Kind of crazy these days, but Tom and he are still in touch with one another. We're still friends after all these years, we like to say. Um, but I'll ask him. Um, and then I've got pictures from my studio of some of the sessions. I'll have to go through and look through them again. I know Larry's got a few, I think. But yeah, it's unfortunate that we didn't document that more because it would have been great behind the scenes stuff. Like, to have on the website of, oh, here's how it went together, like a little documentary of it. It's a
Mhm.
shame that it didn't happen because you're talking about years and years worth of recordings. Um, I mean, Jan started that stuff in, I want to say 77 or 78 when the first show were put together with the Dragon Show,
Okay.
and it was done. The voice of Toby the Dragon was a good friend of mine, Mike um, Wilkes, and his brother is my best friend. But Mike and that's where I mean I met him the next year. I graduated from high school in '79, and then was started in the studio in 1980, and kind of came in on the tail end of that. But they had already done that Dragon show, and it was a really really good show. Great voices. Uh, the writing's incredible on it, and I wish I had that multi-track
I
because when I transferred it, I wish I'd have kept a copy.
I always wondered if I only have a few more questions left, but I always
Yeah,
wondered because now Larry did a couple John Denver songs,
yeah.
and I always wondered, is there a version like did you guys ever cut a version of Rocky Mountain High?
No, I don't believe Rocky Mountain High was ever on the list that I know of.
Was it on the list?
It would have
Okay.
been a good version of it now.
Yeah, I was always wondering if that was like so Country Roads and Thank God I'm a Country Boy, those are the only two John Denver songs. I always wondered if there were more.
Yeah, I'll look through the list and see. I mean, like I said, I've got a complete list of all that Sally stuff. Let me look on my hard drive here real quick. Let me just see. I have the list of the Sally stuff somewhere. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. Sally, let's
Yeah, I
see
would
if
love to
that's it.
program more songs into this band. I would love to do it because we I know someone who knows how to do it. And I'm like, well,
Oh, really?
if we can find more songs, yeah, we can program it in. I don't know.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you what I have here. I think this is the right list. Yeah, I think this is a different list. Yeah, this is stuff from older stuff.
Hmm.
But I'll find that and then I'll send you a list of the ones that because I have a list of them written out. But anyway, I'll get that other list and send you a list of the songs that I know they did
Mhm.
because I mean I have them. Like I said, it's an extensive list of songs. Um, yeah, I mean I can get you some. I mean I can get you some 2-track mixes of some of that. You know,
Sure.
you could program it. You could have them sing along and put them in there.
Yeah, that would be
You
great.
know,
Yeah, I'd love to do that because I always wondered if there were more songs out there. And I've heard Larry do like I've heard the Big Rock Candy Mountains. I've heard these songs, but
yeah.
they never got programmed into our show. So I
Oh,
didn't.
okay.
Yeah, so I don't.
Does the dialogue reference a lot of the songs, or they just have dialogue and then they sing a song? Or
They well, I found out from the manager because the manager that used to work at Wonderland Pier, he was there for 30 years and he was there
okay,
when we brought them in the early 90s. And he told me that we bought them from this guy named Al Belmont, and he had them at some kind of fair show or something. And he said that they were customly made for Wonderland. So the dialogue, I'm assuming, was made for Wonderland because they talk about our rides, the log flume. They say "Welcome to Wonderland Pier" and all that. So
right,
that can't be Larry talking.
no, no, and like I said, well, like the ones they did for Celebration Station, they would always reference like Daniel would say, "Hey, I saw you out on the go karts. Yeah, what were you doing on the or the because they had putt golf, they had the go karts, they had the water rides. Celebration Station had all that stuff
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, and I think there's still one open or several open actually,
Oh wow.
Celebration Stations.
Hmm.
But the guy Cameron Carruthers, the guy that I was speaking of, he told me that the company that's doing the stuff now that has come in and rewritten the stuff or whatever they're doing, he
Mm-hmm.
said they're just not very good. Not when you've heard the old stuff. I'm like,
So,
well,
so
Sally put a lot of money into that stuff back in the day.
hmm.
Um, I mean, it was an expensive endeavor. Because she paid well, she paid the actors well, the musicians well. You know, you got a call to do a Sally recording. Everybody was like, "I'm there." So,
And
uh,
you guys would just record the songs, and then Sally Corp would take them, and they would give them to other shows as time went on.
yeah, typically I mean, we used to put the shows together completely. Like when Jam would leave the studio, we would have a reel
Mhm,
that was the dialogue and music all mixed into a. Usually there were 12-minute segments. She never liked to take them really long. Like her time limit was 12 to 15 minutes the longest. And inside that you would usually have 3 to 4 songs with a dialogue, maybe 5 songs. And then there would be multiple shows and we would have different music and different dialogue. But when she would leave, she would take that. They would then take that back to Sally and they had a they think they still have it set up there, but they had a room set up where they would put all the characters are in there, and then that's where they would put the tape going, and they would start recording the animatronic moves, and recording that data. I mean, it was a really rude computer system back then. It was very, you know, DOS prompt type stuff,
yeah.
but that's what they did to program the animatronics to move and they would program one at a time and just keep writing that data. And then once it was written, they'd spit it back out onto the tape,
Mhm.
and like a 4-track because that's usually what are they're playing off CDs now? Is that what they're playing off of?
No, we've been for the last like 15 years, we've been playing ours off of a little disc like this, little SD card.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we used to play it on the CD for about 10 years. We got it transferred to a CD, I think in 97. But before that, we used to have it on like a reel to reel tape. We actually have one of the plastic reels sitting in one of the
Yeah,
boxes.
it should have been it should have been a 4-track is what it would have went out on. So it was a stereo audio and then a data track, usually with one
Yes.
track in between.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because when I play the CD, it's hard to hear the music. All I hear is which is the data, I think, playing.
That's a shame because those CDs would have been it would have been a mono audio with the data
Yes,
because only 2
that's
tracks.
that's
And
exactly what
those tracks, a lot of
I
time,
can hear the
yeah,
audio.
those tracks were mixed stereo because Jan always mixed for the setup. In other words, when we would do the mix, she would always have a drawing of the characters and how they were going to be on stage, and so we always mixed them positionally. Like if Mike Johnson was to the left or so and so was to the right, we would get the pan the vocals that way, and or if that's the instrument they were playing, it would be panned that way. They were very specific. So if it was done correctly, it should sound as if the audio was coming from that source. That's the way it was designed.
So where the
So
characters are sitting, most likely that's where everybody was when it was being recorded.
no, it's where we would place them in the mix on the console. We'd pan them. So
Oh,
we
okay.
would take them and then pan them where they would be as that character. So
Oh,
if the drums were off to the side a little bit, we would pan instead of a stereo pan, we would pan the drums off to the little bit, or the bass player or sometimes they would always have some of the shows would have a separate window over, way to the left that was just a single character that was like a little carousel that would reveal and they would come out. And so we would always have that character coming from that left side or that right side, depending on how they were set up. So that was all mixed specifically to how it would look on the stage. To give the audience Jan always wanted to give the audience an impression that the dialogue was coming from that character and not just out of a speaker in the middle of the room somewhere or whatever. So, I mean, originally Sally would handle all of the installation, including the audio. They would do it all.
did Larry ever play any instruments while he was singing, or did he just sing?
No, no, he just sang. Yeah,
Oh,
but
okay.
he does play. I don't know if he's got a bunch of albums out there. I mean, we did. I played with Larry for 15 years, so we have tons of music out there.
Okay.
Lots of. If you look up Larry Mangum and the Invisible Cowboys on YouTube,
Mhm.
you'll see some reunion stuff on there. You'll see um, there's shows from a place called Club Carousel. We used to play at all the time, and you
Mhm.
know, way before you were alive.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
Okay.
Is it okay if I put this on my YouTube page for the
Yeah,
fans?
that's fine. Yeah,
Okay,
hopefully it
great.
won't be so bad. Again, check that one link out, and then when I get to, I'll get that copy and I'll send you the list of what the other stuff, and you can take a look. I will make some means where you can take a look at it and listen to it
Is
at
there
some
any
point.
is there any way that I could hear some of those vocal tracks that you have that Larry did that we
Yeah,
that we don't, maybe we could program
I
them into?
just sent you I sent you a link in your email, so just check your
Oh,
email. Yeah, it's
okay.
already there. Yeah,
All right. Jeff, thank you so much. I've been wanting to know about this ever since I was a little kid. I've always loved animatronics, and I always wanted to know, like, because when I first heard Country Roads from this band, because I've been going to
yeah,
Wonderland Pier my whole life. My
yeah,
dad, I'll never forget this. When I was 5, my dad sat me down and he says, "I'm going to play you something," and he played me John Denver's Greatest Hits, and I hear
right.
Country Roads. I'm like, that doesn't sound like the band. He goes, "No, this is the guy that really sang the song."
Yeah, that's the real guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the version, like I said, the level of music that they recorded,
Mhm.
I mean, it's all top quality stuff. I mean, it could have been released as an album had somebody wanted to back in the
That's what
day.
it
I mean,
sounds like.
oh
Yeah,
no,
'cause
it is. It's it's top notch. I mean,
yeah,
believe me.
I'm willing to bet. I think Jan probably worked on our show because I mean,
Yeah,
someone had to do it. I mean, because we got them in 1992, 93, so
yeah,
it had to
yeah,
somebody from Sally Corp had to do it. Because I
yeah.
have a
Yeah,
CD
we were
that
still,
says Sally Corp on it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It would, like I said, I was still working with her up till 95 when we shut our studio down. I had sold it and went to work somewhere else. So I was still working with Jan up to 95.
Okay.
So we were doing, everything she needed to have done back then. So, she was a good friend and just, like I said, an incredible producer. So, all right, well, we'll be in touch.
Yep.
And
All right.
I got your email, so I'll send you some stuff there.
Yep. Jeff, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
All right, you're welcome. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You fill up my senses.
His unforgettable songs touched a whole generation.
Hey, it's good to be back.
Now, Heartland Music presents the very best of John Denver.
Sunshine.
Sunshine.
On my shoulders.
Annie's Song.
Makes
Country
me
Roads.
happy.
30 classics.
Country roads.
30 of your favorite John Denver songs.
Life ain't nothing but a funny, funny riddle. Thank God I'm a
But
country boy.
remember,
Rocky Mountain High.
it's not in stores. So order now.
Call 1-800-306-5100. Use your credit card or send check or money order for $19.98 for cassettes or $24.98 for 2 CDs, plus $3.50 shipping to John Denver, P.O. Box 2666, Atlanta, Georgia.
Somebody once said the orange is the most perfect container ever invented. But my vote would have to go to the orange Jell-O snack cup. You peel it, it fits in your hand, and holds the most fruity, refreshing stuff you ever wobbled around your mouth. And every week there are 5 lunches to be packed up, and 1 knee to be cooled off. Guess that's why they come in a 6-pack.
Regular and sugar-free orange Jell-O snacks. Smile more.
For everyone who'd rather do it themselves, for these magnificent do-it-yourselfers, we make the new generation of Wagner power painters. With power to handle today's thicker one-coat latex paints. An attachment that draws paint right from the can to paint straight up or down. And simple electronic settings to spray as wide or as narrow as this, which makes you more incredible than ever. If it needs painting, staining, or sealing, the choice is easy. Get a Wagner and get it done.
Job's a joke, you broke, your love life's the away. It's like you're always stuck in second gear. When it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you when the rain starts to fall. I'll be there for you like I've been there before. I'll be there for you 'cause you're there for me too. showed up in boots and ruined your black tie affair. The last one to know, the last one to show, I was the last one you thought you'd see there. And I saw the surprise and the fear in his eyes when I took his glass of champagne. And I toasted you and said, honey, we may be through, but you'll never hear me complain. 'Cause I got friends in low places where the whiskey drowns and the beer chases my blues away. And I'll be okay. I'm not big on social graces. Think I'll slip on down to the oasis. So I've got friends in low places. Well, I guess I was wrong. I just don't belong. But then I've been there before. Everything's alright. I'll just say goodnight and I'll show myself to the door. Hey, I didn't mean to cause a big scene. Just give me an hour and then we'll all be as high as that I've